Hey folks, Captain Jim coming to you with another narrated video. Our time here in the Black Hills is getting kind of short. Got to get a ride in whenever I can. I'm out on the Vespa today and just got onto Iron Mountain Road. Was riding for a while on some of the other fun curvy roads in the central Black Hills. And Joan decided that her idea of a relaxing afternoon would be curling up with something to read and a big furry cat sitting on her lap. And I figured I needed to go put some miles on this Vespa, because it won't be long and we'll be back in Texas. We're 6 days away from leaving, and the roads down there are not quite as exciting as the fun curvy roads in the Black Hills. Well, today is Saturday, September 11th. It's the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And if you own a TV or have listened to the radio, picked up a newspaper, or gotten on the internet, you're reminded about what happened 20 years ago today. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, and then I'll get back to the writing portion of it. It's 9/11 changed our way of life. It was a horrific thing. I mean, nobody could have imagined using airlines as guided missiles to kill innocent people for no purpose, yet it happened. And not only did it change the American psyche, but it changed the way we do so many things. One thing that was good that came from 9/11 was how we all came together after. I'm passing a couple of bicycle riders here on Iron Mountain Road. One there, and the other must be somewhere just slightly ahead because I passed them already. And we're starting to see a few fall colors. But after 9/11, it didn't matter what side of the political aisle you were on, what your religious beliefs were, what part of the country you were from, what gender you were, what your sexual orientation might be. We all came together, and it's sad to see how divided we are these days. The COVID pandemic seems to have created even a further deepening of the chasm between the political parties and what people tend to believe. Oh, that's nice of this guy. He's pulling over to give me a chance to get around him. When you put COVID into some perspective, right now, in the last 2 weeks or so, it's been averaging about 1,100 people a day in the U.S. dying from COVID. And as horrific as 9/11 was, the COVID situation essentially is the same loss of life every 3 days as 9/11. So it's not a hoax. It's not a government plot. It's a damn virus that, if people could get their head out of their ass and figure out what it takes to eliminate it by getting vaccinated, keeping distance, and wearing a mask when you can't distance, we could probably push through this. But as it is, doesn't look like it's going to be over anytime soon. The chances of you dying from COVID are 11 times higher if you're unvaccinated. We got our vaccinations as soon as we were absolutely able to, and we got the Moderna, and I understand they're working on a combination booster shot along with the flu shot, and I'll be one of the first in line to go get that too. Some might say that I have certain compromises. The fact that I have asthma, the fact that I'm recently gone through cancer treatment. It's I don't want to have to go back in the hospital again. Done that a couple times in the last 2 years. Sure would like to be avoiding that. So anyway, enough about that. Back to the 9/11 situation. It changed the way we travel. It changed the way we're able to do things. You can't go to a sporting event anymore, if you choose to go to a sporting event, without going through a metal detector. You let me get around this boy here. That was only a little cheat. You can't get on an airplane without taking off your shoes, emptying your pockets, having everything you own x-rayed. Not sure who would want to get on an airplane right now because there's so many stupid ass people that think that's a place where they should protest mask wearing. You know, they don't protest smoking on a plane anymore. There were people who tried to sneak into the bathrooms to do that. But it's just stupid that that's the situation. I haven't flown anywhere for pleasure since 2006. I used to have a commercial pilot's license. Well, I guess by rights I still have it. It's not active. But I have no desire to get on a plane. I have no desire to wait in line 4 times to get on the plane. So the fact that there were crazy ass people who used airlines as guided missiles to kill innocent people means it changed lives for everyone in the world since then. So today, 20 years later, we take time to remember the people who lost, but take time to remember what our way of life used to be. Our daughter Stephanie is a 6th grade math and science teacher, and the kids who are in her class weren't born yet when 9/11 happened. I have no idea if they have a clue what it was all about. All right, I'm gonna change topics again and get back to the scooter riding here. I visited with some people on Harleys where I pulled over to switch the battery just a moment ago on my camera. And guy riding one of them said, "So what is that thing you're riding there? Is that about like 90 cc's?" Oh gosh, no. It's a 300 Vespa. It'll do 85 miles an hour. It'll go through the curves easier and way more fun than a bigger bike, and get better than 80 miles per gallon doing it. My last fill up was about 83, 84 miles per gallon, and I was riding it pretty hard. So I'm amazed that the traffic is this light on Iron Mountain Road. Coming up on the first of the splits, and nothing in front of me. So through these curves, I don't have to worry about some dumbass coming over the center line and taking me out. You got to be vigilant when you're riding on some of these narrow 2-lane roads. There's a lot of flatlanders that don't understand the whole premise of staying in your own lane. Alright, you probably could have gone through there faster with an absolute sport bike, but having had a bunch of Harleys, you aren't going through those curves any faster than I just did with any kind of a touring bike. Mentioned that we'll be heading back to Texas. We leave Friday is kind of our tentative plan right now. We thought we might stay longer than that and then go east to visit my brother-in-law John, and then take a few weeks to meander our way back to Texas. But our poor motorhome is pretty seriously wounded with that hailstorm we had a couple weeks ago, and it has to go back to the Winnebago factory to have the roof replaced, but they can't get us in until December 13th. So that means we're holding it together with flex tape, flex seal, and Endurabond and Gorilla Tape to hold things together until we can get it to Winnebago in December. So therefore we really don't want to be traveling any more than necessary. All right, just coming through one of the curves. If you look over my shoulder, you can see Mount Rushmore, and that brings us onto one of the pigtail bridges. And these things are great, more than a 360-degree turn, and you wind up passing under, like right there, the road you were just on a few seconds ago. And that brings us up on the second of the splits. You can see these are single lane, one way, and big fun to ride. The Vespa is a great little bike. I mean, it rides and handles better than a little 300cc. That isn't even 300 cc's. It's a 278. It's but they call it a 300. But it rides and handles better than it ought to. I've had bigger bikes that weren't near as much fun to take through the curves as what this is. It's the 2020 Vespa GTS HPE. The HPE stands for High Performance Engine. And that might seem a little ironic on a motor this small, but in the grand scheme of all things Vespa, this is the most powerful motor that they've made. Like they didn't see me coming. As I was saying, you have to be vigilant. Even though I was 3/4 of the way through the tunnel, they were coming without even looking. It's a condition that I like to call vacation stupid. Oh man, look at those fun curves. Little change in the color. But the Vespa has a fairly short wheelbase compared to most motorcycles and scooters, and it has 12-inch wheels. And there's a lot of people, myself included at one time, who thought that the 12-inch wheels would make it twitchy. they're pretty good width on those tires. So it has good grip. Has the Michelin City Grip tires on it. And so it cuts through the corners pretty good. And it does so with less effort than most bigger bikes. The suspension's pretty interesting on the Vespa. It uses a trailing link front suspension, which is more like a front landing gear on an airplane than the typical motorcycle. And then it just has the spring and shocks on the rear, but you can adjust them for preload. I am just flat amazed at how light the traffic is here on Iron Mountain Road today. Going up on another pigtail bridge here. Anybody getting dizzy yet? Decreasing radius turn. And coming back underneath here. And that pretty much takes us on that portion of Iron Mountain Road. Now, just for some fun riding and a little test for myself here. I'm going to open the chin venting on this Schuberth helmet and see if it affects the audio quality at all. This is a really quiet helmet. It's a very comfortable helmet. I'm enjoying the heck out of this. It's the first time I've tried it with the Instamic mounted inside the helmet. And I'll close that vent back up. It's a really nice day today. It's about 75, 76 degrees right now as I'm going down Iron Mountain Road. And it, very little wind, sunny day, chance of rain later this afternoon. I know you didn't tune in here for a weather forecast, but just a great day to be riding. I just enjoy so much the riding to be had in the Black Hills. Did I say that already? Yeah, I probably said that already. Alright, and here's where Iron Mountain Road tees off into one way to Keystone, the other way to Mount Rushmore. Probably going to have to get up to Rushmore one more time before we go. I find that awe-inspiring up there. And Keystone is basically a little tourist town that exists because of Mount Rushmore. But if you need taffy, ice cream, or a zillion different t-shirts, maybe a little Black Hills Gold, there's lots of all that available here. And I'm going to slow down a little bit. The speed limit is 20 miles an hour through Keystone. Oh yeah, and helicopter rides too. A couple different places in town here you can get a helicopter ride to see Mount Rushmore from the air. This Rushmore Borglum Museum that's off to my right here is actually pretty informative and nicely done. Talks about how Mount Rushmore was built. And here we come into Keystone proper. Well, the touristy part of Keystone. There's actually the town of Keystone that is a little outside of this. And nice and slow through here. Got to stop for the people in the crosswalk. It's a state law. I'm gonna open up the shield here. That's good. They can't get together and talk about let's cross the street at the same time. I like to wait on one side for people to cross before they get out on their own. And apparently it's a good place to drop off passengers too. Alright, here we go again. And Keystone is not particularly hopping. Made it past the Labor Day weekend through the summer season. I'm going to start winding myself back towards Hart Ranch. But in the meantime, I'll have a whole bunch more twisty roads to ride. I mentioned my helmet. I'm wearing my Schuberth C3 Pro today, which is a very quiet helmet as far as wind noise is concerned. I've been wearing it with my Apple AirPod Pro AirPods, and boy, those have noise canceling technology in them, so it gets real quiet with those. It's very nice. Not doing that today since I'm working with the microphone. I'm using the InstaMic, which is a Bluetooth wireless mic that connects up with the Insta360 1R camera that I'm shooting with today. I have the 1R and I have the Insta360 X2 for 360 cameras, and the 1R will sync up with the InstaMic. The X2 doesn't seem to want to do that. So, alright, we're still going through the actual town of Keystone. People don't live on that main drag that you go through with all the touristy crap. But looking off to the sides here, that's where the houses are. I think the population here is about 300, something like that. So not a lot, but they see several million visitors during the summer months, thanks to Mount Rushmore. I saw an article about, I think it was something like 20 touristy things not worth visiting. And the dumbass who wrote that said Mount Rushmore was one of those 20 tourist things not worth visiting. Oh my God. That is such an amazing place. When you look at that and understand that they built that with dynamite and jackhammers, that is really impressive. Alright, I'm coming up on 4 bicycle riders here, and yes, we're all sharing the road. Nope, I lied. 5 bicycle riders. sleeper in there. Okay, we're back up to a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit here. Gonna wind it out just a little more. This is Highway 44 that we're on. It connects between Keystone and Highway 79. It's got some nice curves on it. It's nothing like what the back roads are. Still, the scenery is very pretty. Road surface is good. Gotta appreciate that. Whoa, wild turkeys on the road. Hit one of those with the motorhome once, like hitting a feather pillow. I don't want to do it on the bike. They are not smart birds. Alright, I'm going to be turning onto South Rockerville Road here. Whoa. Little sand on the road there. I would consider this one of the back roads in the Black Hills. This goes between Highway 44 and the little community of Rockerville. Lots of actually really good curves here. Road surface is it's pretty rough. Some places have washboard. There's a lot of repairs that have been done, and not in a smooth sort of way. Over cattle guard there, because it's not unusual for cattle to be free roaming on this road. Look at that view of the road up ahead. Isn't that fun? All those curves. Hey, you come over a hill and then you got a tight right turn here. Some washboard surface. The Vespa actually eats that up pretty good. I think it does a better job over a rough surface like that than Jones X-Max. Motorcycles and scooters are not known for their compliant rides. So you have to balance the stiff enough to maintain directional stability with smooth enough to not beat your spine into submission. Where can you go this time of year on these kind of roads, this kind of curves, and not have traffic everywhere? Okay, we're coming up on the Black Hills children's home area. I'll slow it down to 25. I can see ahead there are a few kids outside playing. When we belonged to the Harley Owners Group, back when we lived in the Black Hills, the Black Hills Children's Home was one of our charity rides that we did a toy ride for every year. Oh, cows along the side of the road there. unusual to see cattle on or near the road in this stretch right in here. Oh yeah, look at them up ahead there on the left. Cattle over there. They tend to be not suicidal like deer or the dumbass wild turkeys. But I hope you enjoyed riding along. We'll take one more hill here before I turn the camera off. And I gotta think about putting some gas in this Vespa. Pretty cheap entertainment. This is a fun hill to come over from the other direction, but you can look over my shoulder and see what you see there. Alright, and there we go, coming down another hill. So, thanks again for riding along, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. Not sure if I have time to get any more videos in between now and when we leave the Black Hills, but it has been our pleasure to be here and putting out these scooter videos. Hope you've had some fun with it. If you have, go ahead and leave a comment, click like. If you want to subscribe, woohoo, I'm up to about, I don't know, 120 subscribers or something like that. It amazes me that there's any, but I'm still having fun. Anyway, thanks. Bye-bye. And I'll wrap up this video with a little discussion of Hart Ranch. That's where we have been spending the last 2.5 months. It's the Hart Ranch Camping Resort. It's a membership resort about 5 miles south of Rapid City in the Black Hills. And it is the RV resort that we judge all others by. This is a spectacular RVing facility. Besides full hookups and cable TV, they have free Wi-Fi, swimming pool, 3 hot tubs. They have a connection with an actual 18-hole golf course, but there's a frisbee course and a little gravel sand kind of free golf course that you can use here. The lots are spacious, as you can see, and the double wide cement pads are really nice. It's you aren't in the gravel or the mud and all that. We've owned a membership here for 28 years, and it's really only the last 3 or 4 years we've been able to utilize it more than just weekends when we lived in Spearfish. But I'm coming back into our site here, so I'm going to wrap this up, and thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.